There we go.
Thank you guys for signing up. Thank you. And it's great to see all of you. I'll do my screen share in just a minute. I am coming to you live from my 11-year-old son's room. I'm in quarantine jail. A member of my family has COVID. So if you hear children in the background or, a doorbell or whatever, there's all kinds of crazy stuff going on in my house. I have been thoroughly enjoying your session so far here at AGATE, and I absolutely love it. I'm thankful that we've gotten to do it in spite of our crazy world right now. So I am going to go ahead and jump over and do a share screen, and hopefully I've got the right one. Yes, there we go. I have shared with you in the chat, I've shared with you my website that I've created for this presentation. And so if you guys wanted to jump in and, have that up, as Jennifer mentioned, you're welcome to do that. I can continue adding to this as kids finish projects, or if I am doing something that I think you guys might also like or benefit from, I will add it to this website for you. I have thoroughly pushed myself this year, as all of you have during this crazy pandemic. And, teaching, we've taught ourselves so many things. And so I think that part of this today is just, sharing, that growth process too. So just to get started, as I said, the link is there in the chat if you need it. And then all the tools, lots of links are up here that I have used throughout this unit. This unit is ongoing. And so we are currently about midway through the big creation of it. I've done it for years, but this one has definitely been different. I was honestly shocked at my students this year telling me that they were interested in continuing a unit where they would be studying Shakespeare and try to do some kind of play or whatever, because I'm thinking, okay, how are we going to do a play when we can't really interact with each other and share different things? And so we've really had to think outside of the box. The way that I figured out that the kids really were interested in it is I did an interest inventory with them, which I'm sure a lot of you do that. But it came out that a lot of the kids were very interested. And so we were able to take a lot of their interests, and like I said, namely, they're like, hey, in our school, it's a tradition. We do a play every year. Like, we're not going to get robbed just because COVID decided to come and knock at our door. So they were really, really sweet and excited about doing this. And they were determined to find a way to go through that rite of passage as well. So the interest inventory is definitely here for you. It is linked. And if you guys wanted to make a copy, you can do that. I developed this along with a couple of other Springdale facilitators. So we jump right in and we get started with our pre and post test. It's always fun to measure what the kids know at the very beginning and see their growth process along the way. So this is available for you as well. I highly recommend doing this, as you guys know, just as good practice. This one's pretty simple, but nonetheless, it's funny. The kids look back and they realize, wow, I've really grown this year in this topic. And so it also gives me a great insight on where to start with them. So my big deal with this, number one, is communication is huge in GT. And so I really think that hitting all of these standards is what happens whenever we do something. This one is obviously a literacy based unit, but nonetheless, it is truly something that promotes creativity in every way, critical thinking, communication, all those things. So I do have this little chart, this standards chart here, and I found that it's really user friendly. And what we do is we kind of look and see what our units are drawing on or whatever. And so that is one of the ways that I'm able to kind of keep track of what each unit or lesson or whatever is hitting on. And so I use that. As I said, with a unit like this, you're not only going and hitting on creativity, it's really big on communication. And a lot of kids are freaked out by, I don't know, 500 eyeballs staring at them while they're on stage. And so I always enjoy, helping them grow through that. As you know, we are not going to be able to have a very traditional play this year because of the circumstances, but we are determined to do what we can. So one of the ways that Springdale has truly tried to be as fair as possible for our blended learners and our learners that are in person, is we've tried to develop a system, if you will, maybe something that helps us to have some consistency. So the kids that are sitting in the classroom and the kids that are sitting at home, obviously for that blended learning, they have the same type of format. As you guys can imagine, GT is different in that way because it's not like we have the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday assignments. So we have that 150 minutes a week. And so I really try to do it kind of by session. And I try to communicate to the kids, okay, here's your session. By the end of the week, I want you guys to get through slide 6, or whatever it is. And so I've really kind of struggled in that way. I don't know if anybody else feels that way. I feel like I've struggled a little bit on how do I manage it? How do I make sure we're all on the same page? So we are going to look a little bit at how we got started here. The Bitmoji craze is fabulous. I have become addicted. I'm sure there are some other people out there that feel the way I feel. What I have done with this though, and I got this idea from other people out there that are genius with, hey, let's make it easy on each other so that we can share things. So if anybody ever wanted to use this, all you have to do is get in there and delete my little Bitmoji and you put yourself on that couch and you're good to go. It's set up for you and different things. Now, one thing that we also were encouraged to do is we do videos, to introduce the concepts and so on. And so that's probably where, hello and welcome, you're going to want to, redo something like that. As I said, this will be there. It's a resource for you if you choose to use it. I'd be honored for you to use it. I have on my slides, what I usually have as well is I try to post tools that students will use. And there's a huge variety of tech tools that this unit has grown into. So if you guys stick around, I'm going to actually share with you several tech tools throughout this process that we have grown and developed into something that kids can actually use in their day in and day out education. And I'm talking, these kids now are webmasters. They have each created their own websites. They're very fluent in using Flipgrid, of course, and Canva is another one. Screencastify is an amazing tool. I've heard several sessions already where people are talking about those things. So what we do is I try to make sure that anything that I want them to focus on, I try to put it in either the video or, like a little speech bubble or whatever, just to kind of keep them on track with what their objective is for that time. One of the things you'll notice on each slide, you're going to see a little Canva thing. As I said, if you are not familiar with Canva, please, please, please put Canva on your paper right now and you need to explore it. It is a blessing in every way. This right here is just an example of a way that I kind of keep kids organized. Sometimes I'll put out a timeline so that they can understand and see, basically their expectations. So, this kind of gave them okay, this is what I can expect. Do all these times. As you guys know, with GT Kids, a lot of times giving them open-ended type of projects, sometimes you'll end up getting, oh, I'm not done. Well, I still have another week or whatever. And so I find that giving them hard deadlines and sticking to them is best. And so this is just one format that I was able to use, and it was really creative. It was helpful for me to put on my website for parents as well. And so, by the way, Jennifer, if I have any questions or anything like that, please definitely interrupt. I'm 100% great with it.
Well, they just had one, and I think the Jennifer answered at K5. What ages are you doing this with?
So this is 5th grade. I'm actually doing this with 5th grade, but a lot of the technology tools that you'll see today are, they are, I'm using them with 2nd grade on up. So I've used several of these tools with 2nd graders all the way to 7th grade. I would use them even beyond that. So yeah, great question. This one right here, as I said, this is a timeline. So on Canva, you literally search timeline, and y'all look at all these. Actually, this might be an infographic because it looks like these are the infographics.
Jamie.
So great tool, especially if you're trying to keep kids, on track.
Hey, Jamie, it's Jennifer Malugin.
Yes.
Do you want me to answer the questions, or do you want to have you interrupted?
Yes, absolutely. Anything that you can answer, yes.
Okay.
I would love it. Thank you. Okay, so moving on through, we have, this is just kind of a brief introduction. Who is, William Shakespeare? And actually on here, one of the ways that I found to communicate with kids at home or in school, I put the little icon. This is what I'm expecting. I'm wanting you to use Google Slides for this or something similar to that to keep your notes up. That way the kids kind of know, what my expectation is and so on. We also obviously started talking about bubonic plague. They are always, I don't care what year it is, these kids are intrigued by the Black Death. I mean, they're intrigued by it, and it's something gross and interesting to kids, right? So what's interesting this year is obviously we're living in a pandemic. And so it has really been interesting. The kids have really wanted to explore further, like it's so relevant for them. And so whenever we filled out our interest inventory a long time ago, we started realizing, wow, they really are interested. They're, guys, whether we want them to or not, they are listening to the news. And if all they see on the news is death rate, blah, 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 kids get freaked out. And so, I find that it's always really a good idea to talk about things in a safe place like that. And so this unit really did open up some doors that, yes, we were looking at bubonic plague, but we're also looking at how do we compare this? And so we really kind of started looking at it from, 2 different lenses. And I think that's where our, my idea for this presentation and my idea for, this whole Shakespeare evolution kind of came into play. So guys, Brain Pop is a great resource. I know some people have access to it, some people do not. One thing that I wanted to also point out, when doing something, like I said, so touchy, like the pandemic, there are still a lot of really hard feelings about it, whether it's, kids have lost people that they love, they're being affected. Obviously, they're not being able to go to school and do the things that they're accustomed to doing. They were robbed of last school year. So it's a very touchy subject anyway. And so I always really proceed with caution when, doing a unit like this. The other thing that is extremely important, especially now, our internet is full of excellent resources, but you have to know how to weed through those resources. And I'm going to show you just a brief video, and I won't show you the whole thing, but I want you to see.
When it comes to the history of pandemics.
Let me do this.
I want to thank visual capitalists.
I want you to see, obviously, whenever kids are doing a, presentation or research project, I want you to notice, like, put your kid thinking cap on. Like, what would a kid say when looking at this? And, how would they react? And so, as you can guess, it really did start some interesting conversations in our class. So I'll let you watch a little bit of it.
First, here's the number of deaths on a timeline from the year 165 AD through the centuries. Here's the Black Death or bubonic plague in the 14th century. Here's smallpox. The larger the virus icons, the more deadly. Here's the Spanish flu and the HIV/AIDS pandemic. And of course, today we are dealing with COVID-19. But let's scroll down.
Okay, I'm going to stop you right there. So obviously, great visual, right? I mean, you think about if you're the kid that decides to do research on the bubonic plague and compare it to COVID-19 and what we're living through right now, this would probably be something that you're like, oh, I'm going to get this resource and it's going to be great. And I'm going to use it in my class and my project. So you guys are already, your wheels are turning because you're teachers. You already know the issue we ran into with this. The visuals are fantastic. I absolutely love it. I'm very complimentary of this person. But first, we had to actually look at when was this video made. And so we really had a great conversation. This was March 18th, 2020. So it was made right after the bottom fell out. After, like March 13th, it was Friday the 13th, and nobody got to go back to school after that. 8.9 or 8,900. That was the death toll at that time. And so that really got the kids talking. They also really liked the pom-poms. They were like, oh my gosh, just look at that. That's so crazy. Look at the bubonic plague, how huge. And look at COVID-19, how tiny. And so we kind of got into like suggested, marketing and, that all those types of things. And so what we really started talking about is make sure you're checking your resources, make sure you're looking at your sources. When's the date? Is it outdated? Is it a reliable source? And so we also pulled up, obviously, the World Health Organization, and this is their ongoing. It's great. I have some kids who are totally 100% interested in graphing this stuff. I bet you guys have some kids that are just like that. You can already see their little statistical geniuses, their little brains are going 90 miles an hour. But this was very powerful for kids to be able to see the actual numbers, the actual time. We also had, multiple resources. So this one was another one. Johns Hopkins University. So we kind of lesson. Man, I don't know that I've ever done one, like this before, to where it was so relevant and the kids could really interact with the data and it made sense, and they were not bitter towards their family for watching the news every night and so on. We were also able to kind of quantify the numbers as well. And sorry, it looks like my internet's kind of slow. It's not like you can't look at this stuff on your own anyway. But I wanted to show look at this website and how can I really make this relevant for kids? And so it was interesting what we ended up doing. This was done December I think it was done December 4th. So we kind of started looking at, okay, how would we compare it? We put it in a Google sheet, COVID-19, what century is it that we're looking at, the 21st century, comparing to bubonic plague and Spanish flu. We're kind of looking at it. We were also asking, like, how do you quantify data, which was really great for my students. We were able to kind of quantify, look at percentage, look at time of this plague, being, or this pandemic, being measured. And so there were so many factors. I made sure that we cited it. And like I said, this was December. So at that time, we were able to really look at mortality rate, and we were able to kind of look at it and say, okay, look at, truly which one was really, the most detrimental to the population at that time. And we were able to talk about it. Why? So it brought up those really great open-ended questions. We started talking about modern day medicine. We started talking about infrastructure. We talked about, it branched off literally into every direction that you can take it. And so, like I said, I tread lightly on it just because it is so sensitive. The only issue that I had, I felt so bad. The only issue I had was I had a little family, a little boy and little girl, their siblings, and they were so nervous when they were leaving for Christmas break. They were going to Mexico. And one of the things that we had looked at on the WHO and on John Hopkins was the infection rate. And at that time in December, Mexico's death rate, their mortality rate, was 10% of their population. And those poor kids, oh, I felt so bad. They were a little freaked out by it, of course, because they're like, we're about to go here, and oh my gosh, so it did lead to those conversations, and they came back and they were perfectly healthy, and it was a happy ending. Any questions so far on any of this, and how truly, like, I could have stopped here and been happy, and like, these kids really branched off at that point and started figuring out what they were really interested in, what they really wanted to do with their research. Okay, I'll keep moving. Just let me know if there's some questions. So one more time, I have a favorite, obviously Canva. This right here is just a sample. I told them to jump into Canva and, create a Venn diagram. And so I don't know if I have my Venns open. There we go. Venn diagram, create a Venn diagram on, comparing bubonic plague to, COVID-19 or Spanish flu or whatever. A lot of them really centralize their idea on bubonic plague, just because of the time period. But once again, I'm plugging Canva because if you search templates in Canva, Venn diagram, you get hundreds that you can use. And it is extremely helpful for any project that you want. So I'm really pushing a lot of this tech, you guys. That ended up being a really great product. The kids were able to kind of also start saying, okay, well, is this legitimate? Can we really compare this difference and this similarity? Like, what lens do we have on? So it really let
Uh-oh. I think
Can
I
you
think it
sing
must
or,
have.
can you sing or tell jokes?
This is the second time somebody's been kicked out. I don't know. Does anybody work? Jennifer, can you do you have her number, or can you talk to her and see if
Yes, I will call her right now.
It seems like I was just looking at the Canva questions. I did actually use Canva for the program to do the cover of the program. I paid, but I know there is a free version, but it seems like also, I don't know those of you that might use Canva. I think there's an educator version that's free. I don't know though, but I paid just to do the cover of the program because I wasn't sure. But it seems like, and she can answer that, I'm sure, when she comes back. But yeah. Oh, okay. So Allison says she paid next to nothing. Yeah, I don't know. But it was really easy to use, and I used it, like I said, that was the first time I've used it. It's just for the program cover, and I was impressed. So
For those who have used it, I haven't used it with the kids. So is that like a an extension for them on Google, or I wonder how that works if you're letting kids use it the way she was.
She has not answered yet. I sent her a text also. So
she's back. She's back.
okay.
Awesome.
Okay. Are you here, Jamie? Now?
I think I got
she's-
lost.
We were like, uh-oh.
Oh, I've been just tapping and talking. Is there anybody that has any questions for me right now?
One of the questions was about Canva. So for your kids to do it, are you set up to, is there a Google like extension, or do they have accounts or what?
They have to create a Google account, and it is free. I will tell you, as an educator, you can get a professional account, but I'm going to also tell you that I have just never done the professional account because the free account is so, I mean, you have so many resources, even with the free. Yes, you do have some watermark issues, but really and truly, you can get around it, but it is such a valuable tool for anything you can imagine, anything. It is not an extension. I see Patricia's asking if it's an extension. It is not an extension. So yeah, great question. Let me tell you, I will plug that for anything and everything. I absolutely love Canva. I use it all the time. And I will tell you, my students age 2nd grade on up use it. And they're very good at it. You can share it live on anything, like a live link on your websites. I use it for newsletters. I use it for all these types of things. This is one of the ways that you were able to get, oh, that's not it. You were able to get the link. Some of you maybe found it this way. This is Canva. So yes, absolutely love Canva. So I was talking earlier about just having kind of a spreadsheet for, kids, especially if you're a little bit worried about them digging into topics that might be a little more mature. One of the ones is crimes and punishments. Kids love crimes and punishments, but you have to be really careful about that because you're like, I don't really want to expose these kids to, burning of this, at the stake for adultery. And I don't know. The other thing, if you guys are interested in some Shakespeare types of things, please don't ever, 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 ever let them Google any Shakespeare trailers, ever, because there are a lot of mature things. And you're going to end up having an issue most likely because that kid is going to find that one that's got things that they don't need to be seeing. So, okay. So how many of you are familiar with Flipgrid? Flipgrid is your friend. Canva is your friend. Flipgrid is outstanding. I want to show you real quick one of the ways that I let my students actually propose what they wanted to do as a research topic. So I posted it in a little, just a little, whatever you call it, a topic. And they were able to share with me what they wanted to do. And so this one actually chose, to research Shakespeare himself.
William Shakespeare was born in 1564 in England. He had 7 brothers and sisters.
Okay, I don't think he can be any cuter. I know y'all would want to see him continue, but this is just, like I said, this is just to show you he's learned to use several tools, and he was able to kind of give a little brief bio. His is 30 seconds long. It's really, really cute. I have that as an example on the website there for you. You can actually put in like an intro type of video that says, hey kids, welcome. Please post your a brief 30-second proposal on what you want your topic to be. I look forward to hearing from you. I chose this fun little, whatever the heck it is, green Shakespeare guy. I have this, by the way. It is my friend. It's called Jiffy or Giphy, depending on who you are and how you want to say it. I'll share that resource with you in the end, but I am addicted to using little cute animated things. And so it's fun and the kids really like it. So once they made their proposal of what they wanted to do, then we were able to they had their independent project going, and we started talking about plot. And they said, we want to do this. And I said, okay, number one, developing a plot, really great skill. Really great skill for you. It touches on your standards in your classroom, but it's also something we can go deeper on. But developing a screenplay is a whole other level. So you take your plot and you develop that screenplay, and it definitely brings your level of learning to a whole other level for the kids. Y'all, if you pick this or if you play this video, I'm just going to tell you, y'all are going to probably judge me because you're going to say that is the cheesiest video ever, that song. But let me tell you, it is catchy for the kids. And it is extremely good. It illustrates each element of Plot Mountain. Plot Mountain is a great way to teach the students. And if you really want an engaging way to do it, this was made through Scratch Garden. I highly recommend this video. I know that if you teach 9th graders, you're going to be like, this is ridiculous. I promise you, if you look at the illustrations and all of it, it's pretty good. This right here is something I want you guys to know. This is a live link here, but what I've done is I created and I don't know if I have it up, but I'll go to it. All right, so I do have this shared in the Sketch as well, and you'll probably have to make a copy. Whoopsies. So Plot Mountain, I gave them 2 different ways to develop it. One of the ways was it was kind of chronological to where it kind of looked like a little cycle. Let's see. Okay, and so there they are. They have options is basically what I'm trying to tell you. And my internet is being slow again. Whoopsies, sorry. Oh, okay. Well, there's that. So I guess this is the one I have broken up a little bit more. I might need to look at my other stuff too. This does kind of help you teach it more detailed if you feel that your kids need it. There's another one. I'm going to make sure that I have it posted for you. It is the Plot Mountain, 2 different formats. Here it is right here. I'll get that pulled up. One of them, like I said, is kind of like the way that Plot Mountain goes from the bottom all the way up the mountain and then down the mountain. The other one was a little bit more chronological to where you just have your title, you have your exposition, you have, your rising action, your climax, and so on. So this is a format that the kids were able to choose. They got together and they figured out how they wanted to develop a plot. It could have been a mini plot. It could have been an entire plot for an entire play. This tool I find for kids, no matter what you're doing, it is very useful. I have not only used this one for developing a Shakespeare play, I've also used it for writing a comic. Or actually having the kids write the comic. So you can see that first one was a little more just kind of list format. This one is more of a circle type of format. You start at the bottom with your exposition, and then the kids kind of go on up. And I do have the mountain in there a little bit, but anyway, nonetheless, they were able to use that. It was a great interactive tool for them, and they did great with it. So that is a resource that you guys have as well if you want it. Plot, let's see, what does that say? Oh, plot breakdown. And that's where I was talking about it. That's what you have. So that is what is in the slides. As you guys can see, you have also, I have it broken up here on the website. So here's the timeline format. Here's that slide again, the lessons. You also have plot development, which is going to have those little handy worksheets for you guys, which you can give it to them electronically, or you can print them out. The kids can write them that way. I wanted to share with you as well, this is the audition rubric. If you ever do decide to do a play with kids, it is challenging to find out which kids need to be in whatever role. And so this has been a lifesaver for me. It has been something that I've used. I found it 3,000 years ago in a book, and I've actually got it cited somewhere on the bottom of the page. But this has been very helpful. And if you ever wanted to use something that it does help you evaluate students, it gives you something great to talk about: volume, speed, inflection, posture, presence, anything like that. So I highly recommend it. That is a site or a source that I have for you. This is the gold mine. Okay. If anybody wants to use any of these techie type of tools, I use them regularly in my teaching, especially as a remote teacher these days. Not really, well, obviously I'm remote right now. I'm in quarantine jail, but I use Screencastify like crazy. Do Ink, thank you, Jennifer Malugin. Do Ink is your best friend. It allows you to, if you have a green screen, which by the way, Amazon for $120, you can get a green screen. If you get Do Ink, you can do all kinds of really great things in front of a green screen. And that's where we're going to end up doing a whole lot of our Shakespeare play. Edpuzzle, if you're not familiar with Edpuzzle, get familiar with it. It's great. I also have a resource here for stop motion, and I know I'm running lower on time. Stop motion animation. This was inspired by Miss Reeves, who is also a Springdale Public Schools facilitator. I absolutely love stop motion. I was in a session earlier with somebody that was absolutely great. I don't know if she's on here or not, but it was great. But she talked a little bit about stop motion. But did you know you can do stop motion with Google Slides? Most of you probably already know that. But I wanted you guys to know that, and I'm plugging this because several of my kids are like, I'm not really interested in doing a play, but I will put together a stop motion video about William Shakespeare. And so anything that they can absolutely come up with that they, are finding humor in, or they can relate to their learning, I don't care what it is. It could be the cycle of a butterfly. It could be Shakespeare going on an adventure. It could be anything, geometric shapes. I don't care. You can actually have the kids do stop motion video on Google Slides. And so I actually have one. Let's see. I do have one. I don't know if it's on here. That is a resource for you. And so you can actually look at that when you have a little more time. I'm going to go ahead and show you before I'm done. I'm going to show you a couple of student products here that are really, I think, maybe give you an idea of how this thing is kind of going and maybe ending up. In the old days, we used to have a Shakespeare festival. And everybody was invited. Y'all look, does it freak you out that people are like not wearing masks, What has this done to our brain? But nonetheless, these are just some pictures of us actually doing the festival and sharing their product that they learned, studied, and created. And then obviously they do the play that very night. Scavenger hunt, that is a really, really helpful way to invite younger kids that are in your school. If you go to the scavenger hunt, they would all come through and they would learn about the different, things from the Elizabethan era. And so they had something to look for. Find something that teaches about hygiene or illness, do something creative, and so on. So they may have learned calligraphy, and then they went and learned about the Black Death, and then they learned about Shakespeare and, how many plays he wrote or whatever. So these are some links for you if you're interested in, looking at that. I have K through 2, and I also have 3 through 5. So Flipgrid, I shared with you that little brief bio. This is the stop motion that I was going to share with you. This is one student, and it is actually in progress. She's not done with it. And I just wanted to show you how it can actually be used. So I'm going to put it on present. Hopefully I don't press any weird buttons. But I wanted you to be able to see how helpful this is. Let's see. So present, this is by Hannah. And this is her beginning of her idea. Now, I want you to know, number one, she's like 270 slides in, okay? But she's got an idea, and she, Shakespeare is going to end up having some kind of, interaction. And anyway, she's going to bring in the, COVID-19 or something like that. So it's kind of a modern day twist. Let me see if it's going to work. All right, what I'm doing is I'm pressing my right arrow. Oh, it's loading. It's having trouble. Anyway, you press your right arrow, and the little character animates across the screen. Let's see. I still see Jennifer, so I didn't go away. Okay. Let's see. All right, it's not going to do for you. Anyway, get on there and see how it works. It is so fun, and the kids can do that. I also have another group of kids that are actually doing a with Legos. They're reenacting a Shakespeare scene with little Legos, and they're doing stop motion videos with it. And so they're using iMovie and things like that. So they're rewriting, they're using their plot mountain, and they're rewriting whether it's a Macbeth scene or a scene that they've created. And they're doing it with Lego people. So this is just one product that the kids have really learned, and they're using for several things. As I told you, the kids have also become website designers. So every single student has developed a website, and they have used Google Sites. So if you're not a Google user, I highly recommend just kind of playing around with it when you have a little extra time, maybe. I created this entire presentation that I'm using to teach you guys today on Google Sites. But also this is a 5th grader, and she has created this website for you to see. So fashion in the 1500s to 1600s, and she's focusing on 3 things: royalty, knights, peasants. Obviously she's still working on that one, but let's look at royalty. So I'm actually going to click on it, and I don't know if she's hyperlinked there, but let's see. I'm teaching them how to hyperlink. And so we go to the royalty page, and we've talked about how to insert pictures, how to make sure you're writing about each thing, how you're focusing on each thing. And this particular one, we learned how to upload a video of, all the parts to a Renaissance type of lady in waiting, the dress. So if you're sitting at home as a parent or a grandparent and your kid, your kid is so excited, they want to show off the things that they have been working so hard on. This is such a great tool to use because it's been one of those ways we can actually share this out with students, and students in our school can still participate and learn different things and fill out their scavenger hunt. So this is just one example. As I said, I have 2 of them. And I'm so impressed that 5th graders are web designers. They have learned to do this. And they are so excited about it. It's amazing what they can do, right? This right here, this book is actually a great book. I gave you the ISBN number. It's filled with 21 different activities that will help you to kind of connect students to fun, hands-on type of learning. Also, let's see, one other thing, our play is being written in progress. And so you can see this is our rough draft, and this is actually live. And so you guys, if you ever wanted to just see how we're doing and check on us, that's what we're doing. So do I have any questions? I know I talk so much, but I feel like
Yes. There was one question in the chat. Did you read a Shakespeare play?
We did.
I guess to kind of talk about, what you were doing. Did they read one ahead of time?
We did. So that's one of the things that they had to do whenever we were doing our exploration is they had to try to figure out what plays they related to, and then find a character that they thought, oh, that character would be so cool to play. And so they had to figure out ways to relate to them. So that they could build their stop motion videos, or so that they could do be that person in the play. What they're really trying to do is they're in the play trying to make themselves the modern day characters, and they're going to be like Jumanji. Think of it like Jumanji, and they're going to be sucked in to 1600 or 1592, and they're actually going to have to defeat the plague. And so they have the knowledge, and they're also wanting Queen Elizabeth to be a character, and they want Queen Elizabeth to be kind of like I don't know if you know the character Venom, but they want her to actually be the Black Death, and they save her from the Black Death by, dumping a bucket of penicillin on her head. So there's a whole bunch of learning that has happened with the kids, but it's really cool because they're trying to bring it into a play. And so it's fun. It's fun.
Awesome. Patricia Hesse also says Swan Books has Shakespeare plays for young people that retains original language, but is a shorter version. So that's a good idea too, Patricia.
Yes.
That would be great.
That's awesome.
Well, this was an excellent session. Does anybody else have any questions? I've enjoyed this so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for coming. I know it's like, I hate not interacting with everybody, but I appreciate you. And please let me know. I have a website, cavatgt.weebly.com. Reach out to me. I'd love to help and answer any questions. I like to talk.
Okay.
I like to connect, make friends.
Awesome. One reminder, it's vendor break time. We got one last time to go meet with vendors and to try to win a door prize. So definitely go check out the vendors and then go to that link in your program and fill that out so that you can get entered for the door prizes. So Amazon gift cards. So definitely check it out. And we'll have one more session after the vendor break, and then we'll be done for the day before awards. So thank y'all.
Thank you.